Hi everyone, I'd like to talk a little bit about how to solve an equation with fractions in it. So I'm going to share my screen here and you should see an equation now on the screen that says 1/2 x plus 8 equals 10. So we want to solve for the variable x. Okay, so that's the variable. I want to get x all by itself. So I'm going to start peeling off terms that are surrounding the x. And I'm going to work on the most loosely attached things, or the things that are farthest away from the x. So the easiest thing for me to start working on here is this plus 8, the addition of 8. So we want to get rid of that. We want to move the 8 to the other side. So to undo a plus 8, I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides of the equation. Since this is an equation, whatever I do to one side, I'm going to do to the other side, and that's why I'm subtracting 8 from both sides. On the left-hand side, I still have a 1/2 x. That did not change, so I'm going to rewrite that on the next line. Next, I look at what I have. I have a plus 8 and a minus 8, so those cancel out and become a big 0. So there's nothing to write down there. And then I have 10 minus 8, and that gives me a 2. Now at this stage, I've got this fraction, and this fraction of 1/2 is really being multiplied times x, right? This equation says 1/2 times x equals 2. So to undo multiplication, the inverse, the opposite is division. So you might say to yourself, okay, I'm going to take this equation. I'm going to come over here to the other side, and I'm going to divide both sides by 1/2, right? That is the opposite of multiplying by 1/2. So you can say, okay, everybody, I'm going to divide by, get rid of that squiggle. I'm going to divide by 1/2 on both sides of the equation. So I do it on the left, then I'm going to come over here on the right. I'm going to divide by 1/2. And so now we have to do a little bit of work over here. We have 1/2 x, okay, fine, divided by 1/2, okay, fine. And on the right-hand side, 2 divided by 1/2. And this is correct. It's a little bit more complicated than what we started off with. Now we even have more fractions in our life, but we can proceed. So let's come down to the next line. We have 1/2 x. Now notice that division by 1/2 is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. Reciprocal is 2/1. Same thing on the right-hand side. I copy down the 2, and instead of dividing by 1/2, I can say that's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. Working along, I've got 1/2 x times 2. And on the right-hand side, I have 2 times 2/1, so that would be 4/1, which is just 4. On the left-hand side, I've got 1/2 x times 2. Multiplication is commutative, so I can multiply in any order. That's the same as saying x times 1/2 times 2, and 1/2 times 2, again, that's like saying 2/2. Those items cancel out, and our final answer would be x equals 4. That's a bit painful. It is correct, and it is possible to work through those calculations, but I'd like to show you an easier way of working on this problem. Let's go back to what we originally had. We're working over here on the left-hand side, and we have 1/2 x equals 2. If you say, I don't like fractions, I want to get rid of them, what could you multiply this equation by to clear the fraction? Well, if we multiply both sides of the equation by 2, let's look what happens. So I'm going to multiply on the left by a 2, and I'm going to do the same thing on the right-hand side of the equation. What I do to one side, I'm going to do to the other. So now on the left-hand side of my equation, the 2 and the 1/2 cancel out. The reason that they cancel out is because when I multiply fractions, I multiply top times top and get 2/2. That's the same as a giant 1. Okay, so essentially I have 1x. So on the left-hand side, I have x, or 1x. And on the right-hand side, I have 4. So clearing out your fractions can often be an easier step than trying to work through dividing by fractions. Both are correct, but I think that what we did over here on this right-hand side, this is a bit easier